Friday marks 72 years since the United Nations voted to partition the British Mandate of Palestine, many member states marking the occasion with a day of solidarity with the Palestinian people. Their conflict with Israel is one of the oldest in modern history, and now there are new challenges in the Donald Trump era. Liling Tan spoke to Palestinian Ambassador to the UN, Riyad Mansour, to discuss the issues.
Mr. Ambassador, let's start with the most recent development. The U.S. has declared that it is recognizing settlement activity in the West Bank as internationally legitimate, effectively reversing 4 decades of U.S. policy. What message does that send?
It's very unfortunate that this is an additional free gift to be given, to the administration of Prime Minister Netanyahu just only a few days before he was indicted. I don't believe that it was a smart move, and in addition to the fact that it is illegal, unilateral, and rejected totally by the international community.
The decision by the U.S. to recognize Israeli settlements as legal was just the most recent move in a string of pro-Israel U.S. policy shifts that have shocked the international community. It came after the U.S. formally recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and moved its embassy there. Washington has also stopped funding the UN agency for Palestinian refugees known as UNRWA.
Can you recall a time in your tenure when the peace process seemed so much out of reach as it is now? And how much of this has to do with the Trump administration's Middle East policy?
The first year of President Trump, he was, telling everyone, including us, when we had meetings with them at that time, that within a few months he would be able to resolve this issue. So that raised some hope. But when it came to the implementation and the details, what he did, he complicated, and his team complicated the situation more and pushed us further away from peace. Because when you give Jerusalem for free and you give the refugees for free and you try to destroy UNRWA for free and you legitimize settlements for free, then there is no incentive for Prime Minister Netanyahu or whoever will be leading Israel to come and negotiate.
So the fate of Palestinians remains in limbo, made worse by political uncertainty in Israel. After 2 deadlocked elections and a failure to form a government with opposition leader Benny Gantz, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just been indicted for fraud, bribery and breach of trust.
We don't know exactly what will happen to him, but there's a possibility that he might end up in jail. So therefore, that there is confusion in the political system in Israel. If we see a new government, maybe led by General Gantz, if they are ready and willing to listen closely to the position of the international community and start working with it in a reasonable way, then perhaps some doors will be open. The same thing in Washington, D.C. If we have partners in Washington to emerge from the election who would look at these things in a positive way, then perhaps, after the American election and after the Israeli situation is sorted out, we sincerely hope that there will be doors opened to move very quickly in the direction of ending this occupation and the suffering of our people.
In observing this International Day of Solidarity for the Palestinian people, the UN is calling on Israelis and Palestinians to restore faith in the 2-state solution. But this occasion also underscores the ever-widening chasm between most of the world's nations versus Israel and the US. Liling Tan, CGTN, New York.